The human mind is a labyrinth. It's a place of hidden corridors and shadowy recesses. Some minds are capable of unimaginable darkness. Kieran Patrick Kelly's mind was one of those. He was a man who walked among us, seemingly ordinary, yet harbored a monstrous secret. Kelly was one of Britain's most elusive serial killers. His story is a chilling reminder of the unseen terror that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. Kelly's journey into darkness is a complex one. It's a story of personal demons, societal pressures, and the twisted desires that can consume a soul. To understand Kelly, we must delve into the depths of his mind, exploring the factors that shaped him into the monster he became. We must examine his childhood, his struggles, and the events that set him on his dark path. This is not a tale for the faint of heart. It's a descent into the abyss of human cruelty and depravity, but it's a necessary journey if we are to understand the minds of those who commit such horrific acts. By unraveling the enigma of Kieran Patrick Kelly, we can gain valuable insights into the nature of evil and the importance of confronting the darkness within ourselves and our society. This is the story of Kieran Patrick Kelly, the unseen terror. It's a story that will haunt you long after you've finished reading it, but it's a story that must be told. For only by facing the darkness can we hope to overcome it. Kieran Patrick Kelly was born into a world of turmoil. His early life was marked by instability and loss. His family disappeared when he was young, leaving him to navigate the world alone. This early trauma left an indelible mark on his psyche, shaping his worldview and his perception of himself. The absence of a stable family structure deprived him of the love and support that are essential for healthy emotional development. Kelly struggled with his sexuality from a young age. He felt different, alienated from his peers. Society's rigid expectations and the fear of judgment weighed heavily upon him. He internalized the shame and prejudice that surrounded homosexuality, further isolating him and fueling his resentment towards the world. The societal stigma surrounding his sexuality became a breeding ground for his anger and frustration. As Kelly grew older, his feelings of isolation and inadequacy intensified. He felt like an outcast, ostracized by a society that couldn't understand him. He sought solace in fantasies of power and control, dreaming of a world where he could dictate the terms of his existence. These fantasies gradually morphed into something darker, something more sinister. The seeds of violence were sown in the fertile ground of his troubled past. Kieran Patrick Kelly's descent into violence was a gradual one. It began with petty acts of aggression, fueled by his simmering rage and frustration. As his confidence grew, so too did his audacity. He began to target vulnerable individuals, those he perceived as weaker than himself. His attacks became more frequent, more brutal, more calculated. He reveled in the fear he instilled in his victims, deriving a perverse sense of satisfaction from their helplessness. Kelly's choice of victims was not random. He preyed on those who reminded him of the people who had wronged him in the past. He saw in them the faces of those who had rejected him, ridiculed him, or made him feel small. His attacks were acts of revenge, twisted expressions of the pain and humiliation he had carried for so long. He sought to punish them for his own suffering, to make them pay for the injustices he believed he had endured. Kelly's methods were as chilling as they were efficient. He stalked his victims, learning their routines, their weaknesses. He planned his attacks carefully, ensuring that he had the element of surprise. He used whatever weapons were available to him, inflicting maximum pain and terror. He took pleasure in the act of killing, savoring the moment when life drained from his victim's eyes. He was a predator, reveling in the hunt, the capture, and the kill. Section 4. Unmasking the Devil, Confession, and Remorselessness. Kieran Patrick Kelly's reign of terror came to an end when he was finally apprehended by the authorities. His capture was a result of painstaking detective work, piecing together the fragments of his crimes and identifying the patterns that linked them. When confronted with the evidence against him, Kelly confessed to his crimes. But his confession was not one of remorse or contrition. It was a cold, calculated admission of guilt, devoid of any empathy or regret. Kelly's interactions with the police were chilling. He showed no remorse for his actions, no understanding of the pain he had inflicted. He spoke of his victims with a detached indifference, as if they were mere objects, playthings in his twisted game. He seemed to relish the attention his crimes had garnered, basking in the notoriety that had made him infamous. He was a narcissist, obsessed with his own dark legend, indifferent to the suffering he had caused. The lack of remorse displayed by Kelly was one of the most disturbing aspects of his case. It spoke to a profound disconnect from humanity, a chilling absence of empathy. He saw himself as above the law, justified in his actions. He believed that he had been wronged by the world and that his crimes were a form of retribution. He was a man consumed by his own darkness, incapable of comprehending the magnitude of his evil. Section 5. Conclusion: The unanswered questions and societal impact. Kieran Patrick Kelly's case remains a haunting reminder of the darkness that can reside within seemingly ordinary individuals. His story raises unsettling questions about the nature of evil, the roots of violence, and the societal factors that contribute to the creation of monsters. While his capture brought an end to his reign of terror, it did not provide all the answers. The true extent of his crimes, the full impact of his actions, may never be fully known. Kelly's legacy is one of fear, pain, and unanswered questions. He left behind a trail of shattered lives, families forever scarred by his brutality. His case serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of innocence, the fragility of life, and the ever-present threat of violence that lurks beneath the surface of our seemingly civilized world. It compels us to confront the uncomfortable realities of human nature, the capacity for cruelty that resides within us all. Understanding the motivations and psychological underpinnings of individuals like Kieran Patrick Kelly is crucial in the fight against such acts of violence. By studying the factors that contribute to the development of such criminal minds, we can hope to identify early warning signs, intervene in potentially dangerous situations, and ultimately prevent future tragedies. The study of serial killers like Kelly is not about glorifying their crimes, but about understanding the darkness within so that we can better protect ourselves from it.